balancing truth, principles, and perspective. This is the Equalizer Podcast. Welcome back, Patriots, to your daily dose of truth with a side of righteous rage. Today, we're diving into the Democrats' wallet-draining Obamacare subsidies, your tax dollars propping up their healthcare circus, the Soros-funded chaos machine Larry Krasner turning Philly streets into a thug's playground, and Democrats saying the quiet part out loud. Buckle up. It's time for facts, fury, and a call to fix this mess. House Democratic Whip Catherine Clark from Massachusetts said the quiet part out loud in an interview with Fox News' Chad Pergram.
There's a couple out there, the McNichols, in their early 60s, currently pay with their ACA tax credit $51 a month for their health insurance. They have an income of around $42,000. Under the premium notices they just received, that goes up to $2,200 a month. Nobody can afford that kind of increase.
Chuck Schumer said a few days ago, got a lot of criticism, that he said the longer this goes on, it's better for us, meaning the government.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have. It is an inflection point in this budget process where we have tried to get the Republicans to meet with us.
There you have it, folks. Families will suffer, but this is the only leverage Democrats have, so screw your SNAP. Womp womp, your welfare checks will be late. Also, the Democratic Party can have leverage in negotiations. You know who isn't playing this stupid game? Democrat John Fetterman from my state of Pennsylvania. He's consistently called this shutdown theater terrible and has joined Republicans in voting to reopen the government. Kudos to Senator Fetterman for showing the balls and brains to be consistent in the face of immense political pressure. If only the rest of your Democratic colleagues had the intellectual honesty and intestinal fortitude to stand up to the progressive wing and put the American people first. But Evan, the Democrats are fighting for the American people. The only reason they're doing this is to make sure our health insurance premiums don't skyrocket when the Obamacare subsidies sunset. That's what Katie said. Oh? You mean the subsidies that the Democrats implemented during COVID when our economy was in a tank and people were out of work? And the subsidies that they chose not to make permanent at that time? The Obamacare subsidies that make Obamacare affordable at all? Here's Republican Senator Ted Cruz on the cost of Obamacare back in 2014, long before there was a pandemic.
According to Avik Roy, a senior fellow at the Manhattan Institute and writer for Forbes.com, quote, if you compare the cheapest plan on healthcare.gov to the cheapest, quote, bronze plan on the new Covered California Insurance Exchange, premiums for healthy 25-year-olds will increase by 147%. A median of $183 on the exchange versus $74 today. And premiums for healthy 40-year-olds will increase by 149%. A median of $234 on the exchange versus $94 today. And because California bars insurers from charging different rates based on gender, and so do Colorado, Maine, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Montana, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, and Washington. The war on young people's premiums will fare just as poorly for women in California and many other states. Despite Obamacare subsidies, many Americans will still be paying higher premiums in 2014 as a result of Obamacare. Even with the government subsidy, they're going to be paying higher premiums. For example, Americans earning as little as $25,000 will still pay more, even including the subsidies.
That was in 2014, long before there was a pandemic. And even then, we knew that Obamacare was going to increase the cost of health care over state-run exchanges. Flashback to the 2021 American Rescue Plan, when Democrats, drunk on power with all three branches, supercharged Obamacare subsidies. Translation: your tax dollars covering premiums for folks who don't pay full freight. During COVID's economic shutdown, they jacked up these handouts, both in amount and who qualifies, turning the Affordable Care Act into a budget black hole. The Congressional Budget Office pegs these subsidies alone at $34 billion annually if extended past 2025, a 70% jump from the pre-2021 levels. That's just the tip. Obamacare's federal exchanges cost taxpayers $130 to $150 billion a year per CMS data, separate from Medicaid, $680 billion, or Medicare, $900 billion. Added up, and the U.S. shells out $2 trillion yearly on health care. Covering Americans and illegal immigrants, Democrats usher in with open arms. For context, rewind to 2000. Total per-person healthcare spending, premiums, government programs, out-of-pocket, all of it, was $5,510. Today, $15,845, a $5 trillion national tab. That's a 187% spike in 25 years, outpacing inflation, which is at 78%. Meanwhile, premiums for a family of four hit $25,572 in 2025, and you're still stuck with $7,000 deductibles. Democrats call this affordable. It's a tax-fueled train wreck bankrolling illegals while you're rationing doctor visits. Time to pull the plug on this subsidy scam. Now let's head to my home state of Pennsylvania, where Philadelphia DA Larry Krasner, bankrolled by $3.2 million from George Soros' Open Society networks, has turned the city of brotherly love into a thug's paradise. This career defense attorney who spent decades springing criminals ran on a no-cash bail pinky promise platform. The result? A crime tsunami that's made Philly streets a nightmare. Since Krasner's 2017 election, violent crimes up 29%, with homicides spiking to 559 in 2021, the highest in decades, and still hovering near 400 annually. Street takeovers, massive thefts, and roving gangs, standard under Krasner's watch. Exhibit A, Keon King, a 21-year-old repeat offender who stalked and kidnapped a woman in 2024. Krasner dropped those charges when the victim, terrified of King, who was out on bail, skipped court. A judge set $20,000 bail instead of the $1 million prosecutors wanted. What's King do? Stalks and abducts 23-year-old Kata Scott, an aspiring Miss USA, murders her and buries her in a shallow grave behind an abandoned school. King's rap sheet, stalking, breaking and entering, violent assaults, all dismissed by Krasner when witnesses, fearing for their lives, didn't show. If Krasner had fought against his own bail reforms that allowed this monster Keon King to prowl the streets freely, Kata Scott might still be alive. Instead, he's coddled predators like King who have learned consequences are optional. Krasner's not just soft, he's a Soros-funded wrecking ball undermining the city where liberty was born. Philly's had enough chaos from this lawyer who makes us hate lawyers. Sorry, John Adams, you're cool. Enter Pat Dugan, the antidote. A 20-year veteran judge. Army vet. Philly born and bred. Go Birds and fuck the Cowboys. A patriot running for DA in 2025. His record? Tough on crime, fair in court, loved by cops and communities. Vote Dugan to end Krasner's lawless reign. Philly deserves a hero, not a zero. This is Chestnut Checkers. Democrats drain your wallet while Krasner's goons run wild. Time to fight back. Vote smart, demand accountability. What's your take? Drop it below. I'm the Equalizer. Truth just had its moment.